Hotep family. You know, I just came back from the restaurant, so well, not the restaurant, but I had some food, and well, you know, you might be able to tell. But this is me. Got some whatever. Let's get to it though. This is today is it's time for worship. All right, and today's worship, because it's the fifth week, we're not going to go over the four texts that we usually go over. Instead, we're going to do something that you know I ain't really done before, and that is we're going to go over uh, a work in progress. This is a work in progress. This right here is going to be an essay and a series of essays that I intend to release. And really, real talk, I'm kind of slow on it because I want to go to Africa and then do some more research in a sense, right? But this is going to be on the discipline of black manhood, and so this is a topic that you're not really going to see anywhere because how we're going to talk about black manhood today is different from what you're used to. You know, you're used to black men being the victims in the story. You know, you're used to like I'm scrolling through social media and I see, well, oh, the black man is so violent and we got to stay away from black men and blah blah blah. Like cut that noise. And first off, cut that noise. That you have to, or what we are trying to do is we're going to establish what a good black man is. You got to put that forward. What is a good black man, and how can a good, and what will it mean when black men are in that greatness that we were once before? So this right here, you see, this is a tentative title. Tentative means temporary, or for now, right? And or possibly temporary, right? But it's just like right now is the discipline of black manhood, right? And the subtitle, and you see I'm using LaTeX, so this is how you would straight up just go from one document to another. You would just you do all this use package stuff, begin document, center, what size do you want it to be? You want it to be huge, you want it to be bigger than that, and then you see how it appears on the PDF. So it automatically formats it into a PDF so that you can do all sorts of stuff. So this is a behind the scenes, of how I could put out those books that I put out, right? Now, obviously, for those of you who read the Book of Power, you know that I tend to use a template. So you can see this is a rejected paragraph. This is the how I organize the whole thing, right? Title, blah blah blah, context. Humans are hunters. What do men hunt different? So on and so forth. And that's how you would organize a whole article. So this is going to be a pretty long essay, pretty long article. But for now, I only have 4 paragraphs of it. But so far, it's so good, and I want you to come join me in this study. So we're going to we're just going to jump into it. So this is the discipline of black manhood, the key to collective black wealth and protection, right? So black men are, in fact, the demographic that can give us wealth and protection, okay? They are the demographic that can give us wealth and protection. So when we are poor or impoverished, or when we are unprotected, it's because we're not developing the black men that we need to develop. And so here it is why. All right. So we're going to go to the first paragraph. It says, collective wealth and collective protection are in the hands of black men. Okay. Like this is the introductory. This is the exposition. This is where you figure out why you're even going to read this stuff, right? And that's something that you got to do when you're working on any kind of writing. You want to first things first. First hit them where it hurts. You tell them, look, this is why you're reading. Okay. And that's something that I'm advising even like family, because they're trying to, they're writing stories, and I'm just like, look, exposition, that's the most important. So collective wealth and collective protection are in the hands of black men. However, more than anything, black men have to adopt a discipline towards brotherhood and community protection, or else the ruin of his community and image is guaranteed. Okay? For despite that man only differs from woman by a single chromosome, right? Which scientifically speaking is a deteriorating chromosome. Because of his muscle generation and his more aloof input in human reproduction, he has a unique role for authority and warfare, as he is biologically most suited for engagements with foreign and hostile forces. So you can kind of see while I'm writing this, I kind of put in this thing right here, because you have to also understand the market, okay? So when we talk about the market, what we're saying is this. At the end of the day, right, like you are talking inside of an environment. See, when I wrote the Book of Power, right, it was like, I'm like, I don't care. I know y'all not with it. You know what I'm saying? I know that y'all not ready for this. This is more for the generation when people is ready. You know what I'm saying? When people are ready, that's when they're gonna pick up the Book of Power and be like, yo, this is it. You know what I'm saying? Right now, I already know y'all not ready. You know, because y'all on this bull. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you have to write a book that's within the time span that you're writing. And so I gotta put out, okay, look, we're not trying to do no male superiority. We're not trying to do no patriarchy. We're not trying to be against the feminists right now. You know what I mean? What we're trying to do, like, we're not trying to speak to those of you who have the feminists in your ear, you know, who are telling you, oh no, black men want to put us down, blah, blah. You know, we don't want you to, you know, tune out. Because you got to realize that a lot of our people are going to tune out based upon your delivery. You know, like even right now, you see me talking and you see people tuning in and tuning out. Well, actually, you don't see nobody tuning in and tuning out. But still, the point being, though, is that, you know, you have to, when you're engaging the market, you have to figure out what the market is. You know, that's something that I'm picking up on, even like, and you pick up on that like throughout life. You just realize that people are buying what you're selling if you're selling what they buying. You get what I'm saying? People are buying what you're selling if you're selling what they're buying. Sure, I should write that down. You know what I mean? In fact, I'm gonna write that down in the in the comments. You know, people are buying what you're selling if you're selling what they are buying. See what I'm saying? Like, that's just common sense. But you know, like that's a quotable right there. All right. Anyway, so I got one listener. So you know, Hotep family, you know, you can drop that like and also, you know, just let us know who you are. You know what I mean? So I can give you some props. All right. But look, collective wealth, collective protection. Yeah. So I say, and then another thing is this too. Scientifically speaking, like I said, you know, technically, this is the thing that's awkward or whatever. But they're saying that, well, the scientists, quote unquote, are saying that, you know, men and women differ from that one chromosome. And that one chromosome is like a Y and an X chromosome. But that Y chromosome used to be an X chromosome, but it's deteriorating into a Y. You see what I'm saying? And then eventually, though, the supposition is that eventually it just fade away. Now, I don't know how true this is because, you know, all species has this XY chromosome thing. You know, so it's not necessarily unique to humans and unique to human deterioration. But the idea being that, like a species, let's say the species that we came from, right? Or not the species, but I guess the bacterium or whatever, right? You know, the evolutionary chain might have been asexual, might have reproduced on its own, and then now with the XY chromosome pairing, somehow you can now reproduce that way. But like the supposition is that eventually people would either when the Y chromosome actually deteriorates into like nothing, then essentially the species will just die out because it can't reproduce. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. Well, obviously, you know, yeah. So it's you know, because basically there'll be no more men, and if there's no more men, then like women can't reproduce. Maybe you could say, oh, well, maybe synthetic sperm. I don't know, but that would be like a future problem, not a problem today. It's complicated, but you know, I just put that in because, you know, one of the things that you want to do when you're writing too is just be up to date with the science. You don't have to go into the science. You just got to be up to date with the science. Because the fact is that when people read the stuff in the future, they're going to say, oh, man, these people don't know the science. You know what I mean? Because that's what I see with a lot of the books that you read. Sometimes they're saying stuff and it's like, oh, you just don't understand something. You know, it came out later or something, you know? But all right, let's keep going. So the fundamental, so this was just an introduction, just letting you know what you're going to be reading about, particularly for this first topic, you know? The next part is this: the fundamental precept in understanding black manhood is the black man is the primary protector and secondary healer of the family unit, and therefore the community, nation, and race as a whole. Okay? As the family is the microcosm of the three. So what you want to understand is this right here: black manhood as the black man as the primary protector and secondary healer. And I'll be honest with you, this comes from this description from you know, another one of the scholars. They were talking about melanin and how melanin protects and heals. And so like it protects, like on your skin, it protects you from the sun ray and it heals you from sun damage. You know what I'm saying? Among other things. But it's just I thought it was an interesting way to look at things, and I kind of expanded that, that what melanin does, internally into what we as black people do externally. So it's a really, deep philosophical concept. But then when you look into it even more, you realize, oh wow, you know what? This actually does make a lot of sense for a family unit, for a nation, for a national unit, for a community unit, for a race unit, or for a race. You can see that, there are protectors and there are healers, and that black men should be the protectors. And then the question becomes, why? So we're going to go into that. The black man is the primary protector, whereas the black woman is the secondary protector, because his role in the family can be more distant, right? This is a strategic arrangement. As the protection of children is utmost, right? The protection of children is the most important thing. Like even when I'm trying to go to Africa, right? I gotta still say to myself, how am I gonna protect my child? You know what I mean? Or I come back to America, I say, how am I gonna protect my child? Or like, who can I leave my child with? Let's say if I were to leave him, who would I leave him with? Or even if I go to Africa, who would I leave him with if I'm going to something, like going somewhere that, I need to box somebody up. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that I'm going to Africa to box people up, but you never know. Like I'm saying, these hands got a mind of their own. Not just messing. Alright, but it's a strategic arrangement. As the protection of children is utmost, the gender which can be most distant from them must be the first tier of defense for them. So like, this is what I'm saying, right? Somebody breaks in my house, right? Okay, that means that somebody gotta leave the kid behind. You know what I mean? Like if the kid got his room, he goes, like the kid got his room, then somebody gotta leave him so to engage the enemy. It's the same with like if you go to war, somebody gotta leave the kid behind, the kid's behind, because a family unit, you might say, is Baba, Mama, and Toto, right? The parents and the children. Oh, Watoto, right? Right? Like if you're going to war, you gotta go to war. You know what I'm saying? Or if the war comes to you, you still gotta meet the enemy midway. I can't remember who was saying it, but they were saying that, if black men, like if you're a man, right, and the enemy says, I'm going to meet you, I'm coming to you, right, I'm coming for you, right, then if you're a man, you meet them halfway. You know what I mean? You don't wait at home for them to show up, pretty much. And if he do show up, even so, if he's at the door, you meet him at the door. You get what I'm saying? Like you're not necessarily like tucked away in the bedroom. Oh my gosh, like right behind the child. Or you don't just say, oh go check it out, honey. And you tell your lady to go. Like you go. And this is the thing with like every species. Well, not every species. I want to say like this is the thing with lions, right? Because I tell you that like, every species has a different arrangement. I'll be honest, right? But the lion, it's like the female lion, the lioness. She goes out. She gets the. And I'm gonna talk about this later, but she goes out and gets the gazelle. Or the whatever, right? But then when the hyena's around, that's when the lions stand up. Because he said himself, look, if the hyenas come around, that's when I'm gonna be active, because I'm the protector. You know what I mean? I'm not necessarily going to provide the food, but I'm going to save your life, and that's because when the cubs are hanging around the mother. You understand? The cubs are hanging around the mother, and then she goes and fights the hyena know what to do. He just grab the kid. It's the same with like me. It's like if I'm walking around with my kid, and that's the thing. That's the truth. The truth is that you walk around like your kid is gonna be your weakness, and I'll talk about that later. So we'll see. But the kid is gonna be your weakness regardless, because it's your duty to protect your kid foremost, like even above your life. So like. If people start shooting, like I remember one time somebody started shooting, and I had to like go in the way of my kid, because he wasn't, or I had to walk slowly away with my kid. You know what I mean? Like like if it's just me and a bunch of dudes, we might bounce. You know what I'm saying? Like we know it's tactically advantageous because we don't know where the shot's coming from. You know what I mean? We might just bounce, but if you with a kid, you can't just bounce. What kind of person is that? And that's the reality. I'm telling you, that's the reality. Like protecting children, protecting women, That's the reality, and that's like my life, honestly. Because I tell you, one time I did see, like one time, another time there was like some gunshots, and you know, everybody was running, but had a pregnant wife who was, I don't know, she just wanted to walk. So I was just like, shit, boy. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like I could have abandoned her. You know what I mean? I'd be, okay, let's see. You know, it was weird, but you know, but that's what I'm saying. You gotta, like, when you're a man, you gotta put your life on the line. So you can't be with the kids, because if you're with the kids, you already done. Like, you're not gonna come back from that. You know, this strategic arrangement. You know, the protection of the children is utmost. The gender, which can be most distant from them, must be the first tier of defense for them. Now, unlike the black woman, the black man does not need to carry children to term internally or be available to breastfeed them for years, right? And this means that he neither has to quit strenuous engagements for the sake of his children's health, nor be in close proximity of children. So this is an important thing, right? So, like, when it comes to, because you might say, well, why not just make the black man stay with the children and the black woman go away, right? And I mean, you know, that's kind of like whatever, right? But the reality being that, especially if she is continually getting pregnant, right? She's continually pregnant. She's continually breastfeeding. Now that's not going to be the role for every woman. Not every woman's going to be in that, and that's something that's fundamental. But you have to realize too that if that's something that's going to be normalized, right? If that's something that's going to be normalized, then you're going to want people to organize around what would be normal. You get what I'm saying? So if it's going to be normalized that sisters is pregnant and breastfeeding, right? Or sisters going to be around for their kids, right? Around the kids, then you want women to be organized to be a network around the kids. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that she's going to always be pregnant and breastfeeding, because there's other things to do. You know what I mean? You could manage the shops, but here's the thing. Now, if the men are not always not breastfeeding and obviously not pregnant, right? Then you're going to want these men to be organized to go to war. And if they organize to go to war, if they organize to go outside of the community, then you want the women inside of the community to work the economy of the community while the men are gone. You see what I'm saying? So it's a complementary role, you know. And it's like those women who work in the markets, they don't have to be pregnant, they don't got to be carrying children, but because they're not necessarily going to be doing the training for this war in the same strenuous way, right? Then you have a different role, and this is what gender roles is really about. So we're gonna be like we want to go into gender roles to the point where people can really grasp and understand why it's there, and so on and so forth. Because again, we gotta go by the market. The market is, we don't want no gender roles. We want genderless society, blah blah blah. And the thing is that you're getting crushed because of it. You know, so that's what part of this essay is going to be addressing: how you're getting crushed because of that. You know. The black man doesn't need to carry blah 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 blah. Health, close proximity. So his role as a reproduction of his race is completed in a scale of minutes instead of months, and the physical ramification of this instrumental process has relatively no impact on him. So this is the thing too. So it's like, you know, when like for a man to have a child, all he gotta do is lay down with a woman, you know, and you know, technically, you know, I mean, like you know, let's say for an hour. You know what I'm saying? Let's say that, right? But for a woman to have a child, she gotta, like, pretty much be decommissioned. You get what I'm saying? Like, for at least a few months. You know what I mean? And see, and again, like, you talking about war, you know, that would, if women were the warriors, right? And men, you know, you'd have to organize the war around the women getting pregnant. Or you'd have to, like, a lot of women would just not get pregnant because it would take away from that capacity, in a sense. You get what I'm saying? So again, you know, and you know, you don't want to discourage pregnancy. Now, of course, you don't want women to just be like, oh, well, you know, because some women are going to be exceptional anyway. Exceptions that they're going to say. And the thing is this too: you want it to be open for women to be exceptions, but also say, you know what, let me turn it back. You know what I mean? Because you got one life to live. You know, so you know, there might be this woman's like, I'm not having no kids, no way, no how, you know, and she's like, give me the freaking fighter jet, that's it, I'm gonna fight flying fighter jets to the day I die, right? Then, you know, after, you know, 3 campaigns, you know, 3 wars, you know, 2 wars or whatever, or 20 campaigns, 2 wars, whatever. She goes, you know what, I kind of, you know, the general's kind of cute. You know what I'm saying? And then you want her to have some sort of outlet after. You know, when she figure out the genital cue, she you know, you know, you want her to have some sort of outlet to say, you know what, let me go and come back into the home community. You know? So that's really what it's about. You know, like, you're not really saying, look, you can't fly no plane. You know what I'm saying? But you know, like, if you, because again, you have one life, you know, and there's gonna be women who just gonna be like, yo, let me just get blood on my hands. You know what I'm saying? And then there's gonna be some men who are like, yeah, squeamish and don't want to do shit. You know what I'm saying? And you let them have their own role too. You know, like, there's personality differences everywhere, but you know, you also want to normalize the norm. You know, and that's really what it's about. Accommodate the norm. So his role in reproduction, yeah, a matter of minutes. So the distance presents an advantage. You know, his role in the so the distance presents an advantage. So the fact that the black man is distant, or he can be distant from this child, because again, like I said, a pregnant woman, you know, she's like this close. You know what I'm saying? But the fact that a man, you know, like, when a woman's pregnant, he could be in the next city. That's not gonna change nothing. You know what I mean? Like if the man's at a dangerous area while his lady's pregnant, it don't affect the child's birth. If the woman is in a dangerous area while she's pregnant, it does. You know what I'm saying? So the man got distance. You know, and not just in pregnancy, but even like breastfeeding. Like I said, you got to be available to breastfeed as well, unless you're gonna do the synthetics. But again, you want people to have an opportunity to do whichever they wish. You know, and of course, whichever is the healthiest. You know, so on a battlefield, children are a liability. So this is what it is, right? On a battlefield, children are a liability. So, like, unlike many other animals, and we go into science in a sense, humans are very slow in development, very needy, and remarkably unaware of the world, on top of being very vulnerable due to weaker, smaller, and slower bodies. You know, a child has to stay off of a battlefield, and whichever gender assumes the child's immediate protection will be hampered in protecting itself and will need outside protection, hence the man as primary protector. So this is just a kind of a proof of why the man will be the primary protector, because essentially, because the mother's going to be the immediate protector. You know what I mean? The immediate protection. And like, just like if the man's the immediate protection, he becomes vulnerable. The woman, in being the immediate protection of the child, who's weak and slow and all that kind of stuff, needy and unaware and all that, right? Then she's going to need a protector, and that's where the man comes in. See what I'm saying? So you want the men to be organized around protecting women who are protecting women and children, and the women are organized around protecting children. See what I'm saying? That's how this primary protector versus secondary protector thing works. And so now we're going to go into the secondary healer, right? So the man is likewise a secondary healer, as his distance from children, and therefore women who would be geographically closer to children, makes his role in healing them much less immediate. So the black woman's going to be right next to the children, and so the children are the most important thing. So you want to heal the children in a sense, or heal people, and just being the fact that you're so distant geographically, because again, you're a man, that means that you might have to go to war. You're a man, that means you might have to stand guard 8 hours outside of the government building, you know, or 8 hours patrolling the community. You know what I mean? Like, I tell y'all the story of this brother who used to, like, during the nighttime, stand up on his roof, you know, and just watch the community. Like, you know, he's in the hood, and he just watching the hood, making sure nothing goes wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what real men do. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying that I do that. I'm not saying that that's the only thing that real men do. I'm not saying that, you know, I'm not saying, because again, I'm not even in, you know, whatever, but but you get what I'm saying, right? That, like, you in an African community, that might be what you're assigned to do as a man, you know? Like, you might be like, you know, it's like, oh, it's Tuesday night, that means you on guard. You on guard duty. You know what I mean? Like, today, you don't have guard duty because, you know, you got the police, and you got so you got other people doing your guarding for you. But, you know, that's really what it would come down to in a real community, you know, in a real nation. So, and this book is supposed to be for those of us trying to build communities, trying to build nations. You know, we want our people to figure, like, we want, like, this is something that we want to teach the children in a sense, you know, quasi kind of like that curriculum that Bit of Medicine discusses, but more so on the philosophical so that when the people who are building the curriculum too, or even the people who are building nations, they say to themselves, it's really important that we incorporate this idea of gender roles along the lines of protectors and healers, because when you incorporate it in that way, it makes it that much, like, it makes the society that much more organized, and you'll continue to see how that works out. So, role in healing that much more immediate. So instead, he would be closer to other men, So the man is not going to be close to his children as much as he's close to other men, in the role as brothers and allies, and necessarily closer to outsiders and strangers in their role as possible foreigners or enemies. So, again, you don't got to be in the same village. You don't got to be in the same community. You got to be in the same nation. When you're a man, you might be sent to war. When you're a man, you might be sent to scout the enemy. When you're a man, you might be sent to trade with the enemy, right? And the thing is this, again, you don't got no children around you, so you're not even as vulnerable. You got other men, so you say, hey, look, we want some of that gold you got. You know what I'm saying? We want some of that gold you got. We want some of this, whatever you got. I guess in today's terms, you might be like, well, we want some, computers or some, I don't know. Or we want the know-how for the computers, or we want them engineering books, or whatever. And, you want to just engage the enemy's works as men, right? And then, but again, this has its own effect on you, right? And you're going to see that. So the role is possible, whatever. So this arrangement, as those who would engage foreigners, makes him more vulnerable to injury and therefore in greater need for healing. But ultimately, right, the physician and patient are separate individuals, right? So he, of course, must heal his brothers, his allies, and his family, but as his discipline should be most suited to protection, he isn't also the primary healer, as the rigor and practice of both would more hinder than help that cause. And for his exposure to foreigners, right, he will have a mental health consequence, not simply because of war, but because of the corrupting influence that foreigners can have. So it's like, you're like, oh, let me get some graphics cards, or let me get some, motherboards or whatever. We got this, let's get that, whatever. And then it's like, eventually, the white boy's gonna come, he corrupts you. He corrupts you. He's like, oh yeah, chill. Like he got like a woman, on her knees, like crawling around, and you just looking at that like, that's what y'all do. And he's like, yeah, that's what we're doing. Women are, shit or whatever. And then eventually, like, it wears on you. He's like, why would I take anything from women? Blah blah blah. And then it wears down on you. So you're gonna have to heal from that. You know what I mean? And that's where the sisters come in, because they're not being exposed to the enemy. So they're not going to have that mental health consequence, and that's why, and on top of that, this kind of tells you what black men need to do, in the sense of, we need to organize our communities in the sense that black women don't get exposed to the enemy. Because right now, everybody's been exposed to the enemy, okay? Black children are getting exposed to the enemy, the public food system. Black women are getting exposed to the enemy. They're going to white Wazungu hospitals. They're going to Wazungu schools, universities. They go to Wazungu jobs, so on and so forth. If black men were to organize around, oh, look here, sister, you don't got to work. Look here, kids, you can get homeschooled, or you can go to a black school. You know what I mean? When you do that, and they don't have to engage, because like for me, I don't engage the Wazungu like that, and because of that, I'm like mad health for that. You know what I'm saying? Like my mental health is pretty good for that. It's not the best, because I still need some of that black. I need some of that Africa, right? But it's better than those people who were just like in it. You know what I'm saying? Or most of the people who's in it. I mean, obviously there's exceptions to every rule, but that's it. So as far as exposure, and simply because of war, but because of the corrupting influence. So man absolutely needs someone more healthy to heal him. So you need somebody healthy to heal you. You get what I'm saying? Like I tell y'all, there's like a grifter on social media, right? Bruh is like he always on some grift. He's selling some stupid stuff. Eventually he starts selling this idea of weight loss, right? He's like, oh, I'm gonna help you guys weight loss. Dude big. Like, I'm not saying I'm small anymore, you know what I mean? But dude big. Like, and he's just like, yo, let me tell you guys how to lose weight. And he's like posting pictures, oh, this is me in the gym. I worked out in the gym. Like my guy. You know what I'm saying? like you gotta be healthy to tell people how to heal. You know what I mean? You gotta be skilled. You gotta be healthy to tell people how to heal. That's number one. So I mean, I mean, obviously, you know, you could know healing without being healthy. Okay? Obviously, that's the case. All right? But, you know, especially inside of this situation, right? Where the sisters are going to be isolated from the enemy, right? Oh, actually, right here, you see right here. The black woman must be protected from foreign cultures so that she is uncorrupted and incorruptible. And therefore, the black man who listens to black women will be listening to the unadulterated black culture. You see what I'm saying? Like, when you are truly isolated from Wazungu, you're not going to be corrupted by Wazungu. See, Wazungu's going to come in through the black man. See what I'm saying? He's going to come in through the black man in this kind of arrangement. But the sister's going to be like, no, that's not how we do it. You understand? And he's going to, and if you teach him the discipline of black manhood, like I said, he's going to say, oh, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. You understand? Like you want the sisters to learn the culture, because the black man's going to forget regardless. Because like I said, you go to war, like you, none of y'all don't understand this, all right? A war could be a decade. You understand? A war could be a decade long. All right? So like the Haitian Revolution was for a decade, right? You know, you could be in your 20s, you could be 16-year-old boy, 26. You there on enemy territory, fighting, killing, you know, spying, doing all that kind of stuff. After you 26, you come back into your community. After 10 years of being inside of their community, in the enemy territory, you come back after 10 years, and then you think you're going to be the same African man that you were when you left? When you were just an African boy? You think you'll be the same person? You know what I mean? And if you are, more power to you. Right? You know, 10 years of your life, more power to you. But you're going to come back and the sister's going to be, you know, hey, how you doing? You save the village, all that jazz. And then you there, you already learn the enemy language, you learn the enemy's culture, all that stuff, and you think it's not going to impact you at all? Come on. You know what I mean? Like I could watch a Japanese cartoon for like a day. Or matter of fact, I could watch, or even a British whatever for like a day, a British show for a day, and it could impact how I'm talking. You know? But you think that you could do that for 10 years and nothing happens? You know, one of the concepts you gotta remember is that you are what you eat. You know, and that's mentally as well. You know, physically as well as mentally. So, and again, like you're gonna be in enemy territory, eating enemy food, eating so on and so forth. You know, you're gonna come back and you be like, oh, we get some hot dogs and eggs. You know what I mean? like you know, you can be like, whoa, hold up, man. We don't do hot dogs and eggs. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like that's the stuff that's gonna happen. You know, you eating hot dogs and eggs for 10 years, and you just gonna come back and be like, okay, give me the, you know what I'm saying? Give me the Joe Love. You know? Come on. And you know this to be the case. You know, because a lot of people come from, matter of fact, a lot of people come from Africa, and then they just, you know, like matter of fact, I remember a professor, he telling me when he was a little kid in Africa, you know, he put a book on his head. He used to walk around, put a bunch of stuff on his head, and you know, walk home, whatever, right? He come to America, he said, I can't do that no more. You know, and not because he can't do it, not because he don't want to do it, it's because he can't do it. He don't got the balance anymore. You know? He lost that sense of that amazing sense of balance that he had because the Western way of life don't even accommodate it. You know? And that's simple. You know, one of these brothers was saying that balance is one of the like one of the 7 senses or something like that. You know how we say there's 5 senses? He's like balance is one of the 7 senses or whatever. But you know, we don't know that. You know what I'm saying? We don't know that in the West. So like I said, these statements should inform our mate and community selection and goals for black people. So the idea being here that you would, you know, if you're looking for a black woman, right, you'd want a black woman who is steeped in her culture. That's pretty much it. But let's go. All life on earth hunts for sustenance and comfort. Man and woman are a biological pair, complements of the human experience. To look at living organisms as hunters, one must look at man and woman as hunting pairs, and therefore look into how the two hunt differently and why. So you see, that was back in the context. You know, usually I say protector, healer, hunter. Okay, to look at the living organisms as hunters, one must look at the hunting periods and why. So many animals organize into particular gender roles for the hunt. The lion has an arrangement where their females hunt the prey and their males fend off their other predators. Hyenas have a different arrangement where their females are larger than their males and therefore hunt prey and fend off predators independently. You know, the hyena society, the males are extraneous outside of reproduction. Okay, so so this kind of illustrates. I said the male hyena exemplifies the fate of any man who doesn't impress physical and technological strength in his family, community, nation, or race. And this is why, as such, man's hunting practices need to be organizing for the protective roles, and this organization must be with other men so that he can both protect his family at home and abroad. So again, this is important, right? The man who doesn't appear strong, right? Who doesn't appear to stronger than his woman, who doesn't appear to protect his woman, right, is going to be set aside. And that happens in the hyenas, but that's what's going to happen with you. You see what I'm saying? That's what's going to happen with you. And that's why you have all this vitriol towards black men. Because, you know, a lot of black women are not, they don't feel protected around black men. They don't feel protected by black men. You know, there was a story that came out of a sister who got her, like somebody, like a black man bit her, well, a bunch of black men trying to fight her, and one of them bit her eye because she, like, declined, you know, a date or something. But it's like, or declined to, you know, to get a bottle purchased for her. I don't know. But the point being that kind of story, sisters all over, just saying, oh, that's why I don't like black men. You know what I mean? But that's the thing. You know, now if the same story happened and the brothers was like, yo, hold back, you know, and they like beat his ass or something, right? Then the sister be like, that's what I want. I want me a black man. You know what I mean? Like, you have to realize that we're animals. Animals want to be protected, right? Animals want to feel safe, and a lot of like, if an animal does not feel safe around a certain species, like around their own species, they're going to go to another species that will make them feel safe. Okay, that's just common sense. It's like if you rescue a bear from its parent, the bear is going to hang out with you. And that's not even, it got nothing to do with you being a human. It has nothing to do with you being a human. Like, you there victimized, oh, it's because I'm a black man and blah, blah. It don't got nothing to do with you being a human. If you are not protecting your own people, nobody's going to care for you, especially if you're a man. Like, if you big, it's like when I was in high school. I had this friend, right? I took him for arm wrestling, beat him. He was like 6 feet or something, right? That's not that tall, 6'4" maybe, right? He's like 6'4". You know, I'm 5'11", so that's why 6 feet not that tall on me. But 5'11" and a half, right? All right, but anyway, you know, I take him for arm wrestling. You know, I beat him, and then I tell him, look, you big for nothing. You big for nothing. Now he was hurt, right? But and it was kind of mean of me to say. But the thing is that you can't just be big for nothing. I remember when I was, you know, organizing on the streets. Right, I was walking around trying to get people to my meeting or whatever, right? I talked to this brother. Brother come out with his arms, man, just boom, big arms, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I got some good arms. This dude has some good arms. You know what I'm saying? He had some arms on him, right? And we like, hey man, we're gonna organize blah blah blah, you know, against these post brutality, against blah blah blah, against these white folk. He's like, I ain't fighting no white folk. I ain't gonna go with no white folk. You know what I mean? Big for nothing. You know what I'm saying? Men are naturally bigger. So if you are not fighting, if you're not protecting your people, right? You big for nothing. And don't nobody gonna care for you like that. You basically the male hyena. You know? Well, the male hyena is smaller, right? But you basically the male hyena in the sense that you not you're not good for nothing. You can't fight no lion. You know what I mean? You just hanging around. Can I get some food? Can I get some food? Nobody cares about you, man. Just you know, like you just good to lay down with, apparently. And some of you was like, oh man, I just want to lay down with me, oh man. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. That's the problem. It's like the dude coming around, hey, you know, can I buy you a drink? And then he fights the lady. Like why would this woman, like you gotta ask yourself, why would a woman lay down with you? I mean, if all you like the things that you say to yourself, all I'm good for is laying down with, and on top of that, even though I'm good laying down with, I will fight you. I'm not gonna protect. I will hurt you. I will injure you myself. And then she gotta go to the white man to protect her. She gotta go to the white man to heal her. And then you wondering why these sisters turn away from you. Oh, but why do you hate black men? Like you got to think about that. Your role as a man is to be the protector. But if you're not protecting, then like why would somebody why would somebody defend you? You understand? And you want to be the victim? Like, nah, pause, hold that, man. But you already know. Y'all already know. Anyway, family, you too. That was a good rant. I don't know why y'all not even sharing this. You know what I'm saying? Y'all just giving y'all liquid gold. Anyway, verbal gold. All right. So let's see. The male hyena, blah blah blah. Oh yeah. So the male hyena exemplifies a fate. As such, man's protect. Oh yeah. So look, a maroon group in Suriname. So this is a really interesting story. Gives a simple image of this. Right. The men there organize hunting parties into the woods, sometimes spending days with their rifles or bows hunting game. Right. A small contingent of men remain in the village that is otherwise occupied by women and children who form the core of the community and agricultural, fishing, and marketing labor. Okay? So one can extrapolate. So look. One can extrapolate that in times of war, the hunting party will be sent to battles and the contingent will keep watch of the community. The Maroons, who exemplify some of the purest forms of African culture, illustrate how brotherhoods are a necessary practice for community protection. So you see that, right? So here's how it goes. You got an African community, right? I mean, you got a community, right? Y'all want to eat some meat, okay? Now y'all not farmers per se, right? But y'all want to eat some meat. You know what I mean? Like you want some of that because the meat tastes good, all right? The meat fresh, the meat's organic, all that, right? Somebody gotta go and get the meat, right? So you say, look here, man, because the men this Maroon community, there was like one good hunter, like it was a small community. Like maybe because a lot of men had to leave, like left to the city or whatever, right? But it was like one good hunter. The rest of the guys just kind of hung out with him, right? Like he caught, I think he caught like 5 things, and the rest of them like together caught like 2 things, you know. But so they weren't as good a shot as him, right? And he was a young man. He had like this, scouting, tracking, all that stuff, you know. But they just kept him company, you know. So they go out, they leave the community. So when you leave the community and you're the men. Right? You leave the community. What about the community? What's going on in the community? Right? The community still got to do they're the farmers, they're fishing, they're marketing, all that kind of stuff. So you have to extrapolate that to a more modern economy. You know? Right? When the men go out to, let's not just say hunt, let's say they go out to war, let's say they go out to whatever, right? When the men go out, then the community still got to run. You know what I mean? And you can leave some men behind, right, to protect the community. But that means that if the community is supposed to run 24/7, you can't have the lawyers and doctors and things leaving to go hunt. Now, I'm not saying that all men got to be warriors. Obviously, you might want some men who want to be hunters and doctors and lawyers and whatever, right? But the point being, right? And obviously, when you get older, you might want to not be out on the battlefield all the time. But the point being too is that the men go to the training and they go out to get the food. They go out to go to war. They go out to so on and so forth. And the women stay back. So you could see where the gender role kind of comes aside. And you also see how it's kind of balanced, like the sisters are not, oh my gosh, all the fishers are gone, all the marketers are gone, all the markets are closed, the fishing is gone, all because these men went hunting. No, when the men came back with the meat, there was already a feast waiting for them, that's how it goes, like there was a good community celebration, and by the way, I actually saw this Suriname group by accident, I mean, like the white boy don't know, but the white boy was going around like the Food Network or something, and he going around trying to find like weird food, and so he's like, oh, Suriname people, blah blah blah, and they just show you, but it's like a Food Network. It's not about Black history, so they don't even know that they showing you history, right? And they don't know that you can pick up some lessons from it, but they showing it to you. So it's like, and that's another thing too. It's like you're gonna have men. You want some men, spies, watching the TV. Just watching the TV, seeing what's important, but then that's going to impact them, Because you watch enough. Because like I never saw Friends, but you might watch Friends and pick up on something important either for white folk or for black folk, right? But then look here, how many episodes you gotta watch before you realize, you know what I'm saying? How many episodes you gotta watch before you see something important? So you're gonna be watching this thing like the food thing I was talking about, you know? You're gonna be watching this thing. I mean, of course, I jumped to it because it was about the Maroons, but you gonna be watching this stuff, and then it's gonna impact you culturally. You're gonna come back with howdy, and instead of hody, you know what I'm saying? Hody is how you greet in Swahili. You're gonna be all howdy, and shoot, I don't even know if hody is, I don't know, but anyway, but that's the point though. It's like you want men to be doing that. Like you want to separate the gender roles basically based around the fact of who's engaging the enemy and who isn't. Who isn't? Because again, like you have the markets, right? The markets could engage the enemies, or it could just be markets for the internal trade. So you could have external markets and internal markets, and so you'd want the men on the external markets, or even you say fishing, right? You might have fishing in the lake, in the community, but you also might have ocean fishing. You know what I mean? Which is going to be on a ship that's going to engage the enemies. You know what I'm saying? So this is the kind of stuff that you talk, or even like cash crop agriculture. Like I said, cash crops versus sustenance farming. So the world is a dangerous place. As such, the men who would practice manhood will be the highest authority of their families, communities, nations, and race as they are organized to curb danger. Right? So you see, you want the men to be the authority in the community, but you have to, because again, like I said, the market. You have to explain why. All right, you have to explain why, because people are going to be like, oh my gosh, you want to put men above the women, and the patriarchy is all the other things, and that's the thing. Like you have to realize that that's just the reality. Now, of course, it's all in vain, because the people who are about that, they're not reading your stuff anyway. You know what I'm saying? Most people ain't reading your stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's just my experience. But the point being that you still want to come correct, because the thing is that anybody can use your stuff against you. You know what I mean? And like, negative propaganda is not really all that great. I mean, it's good for sales, but it's not good for your reputation. Because you're gonna end up having to defend your reputation, or be dragged through the dirt. And that's what they did with like there's somebody else putting up these things about Ida Van Sertima, and he's like, I never said America was founded by black folk, but y'all keep dragging me. And he was writing this thing as late as 1991. So he spent like 20 years saying, look, that's not what I was saying. That's not what I was saying. That's not what I was saying. So you gotta make sure you understand like the market, because there's people who are trying to twist your words against you. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people who are like have a mission of twisting stuff, and you're gonna suffer for that. So the world is a dangerous place. As such, the men who will practice blah 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 blah. So for intelligence, it's necessary for leadership, and only those who know their enemies can protect others from them. So if you're the population that's engaging the enemy, then you're the population that knows the enemy. You understand? And like intelligence is like this, right? It's like, where's the best? Like, if you're the ruler of a nation, you're supposed to be at the highest point, or you're supposed to be at central point. Okay? Like location wise, right? If you're on the southern edge, you're not gonna know what's going on in the north, right? Or if you're subterranean, you're not gonna know what's going on farther, like by the horizon. Like your horizon is shorter the lower you are. You know what I'm saying? If you high up, your horizon is high, so you could see. Oh, they're trying to come from the north. You understand? You have to. Like, that's what intelligence is. So the intelligence is required for leadership. This is why you have those hierarchies. This is why you have leadership in the beginning. So anyway, only those who know the enemy can protect others from them. But if men are the only group who collectively should have any exposure to foreigners or strangers, men are the only group who have the collective intelligence to lead and be an authority in their communities, particularly when it comes to the outside. Now I got into the disclaimer. This is not to oppress women or children. One shouldn't think that, and the man who would abuse this honor should face consequences. But it's necessary to understand why men should take the lead, especially when engaging our global enemies, right? As we'll note later, many respected female leaders arose in the context of men failing as protectors, right? So like, and I don't go into it yet. I didn't finish. I didn't get to that point in writing. But like Nzinga shows up because her brother is like selling people into slavery. You know what I mean? Aya Santawa shows up because the men forfeit. They surrendered to the British. You know what I mean? Like, but it wasn't that they were the leaders already per se. It's more so that the men failed as protectors. And that's something that you want to grasp, when you think of, oh, well, but women are great leaders and women are great protectors. Like, yes, absolutely. But, again, that's a secondary protector role. So, like you see how even African Ourstory justifies this paradigm I'm pushing. You're not hearing anybody else. You know what I'm saying? And I've been talking about primary protector, secondary healer from Zubiri. You know what I'm saying? So Zubiri was released in 2017. That's when I wrote about that. And I wrote about it before that. You know what I mean? But, like, that's what I was doing in my meetings. But that's like you're not hearing this anywhere else, and you're not hearing it. So like definitely, for those of you who are listening, and it looks like I got 3 listeners now, right? But for those of you listening, make sure you check out the literature as well. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, though, I'll tell y'all this: if y'all want a discount for the a Book of Power, let me know. Like, hit me up on social media, hit me up on Discord, hit me up on Twitter, whatever. But tell me, look, I want a discount. You tell me what discount, how much you want the discount to be. You know what I mean? I'm gonna try 3 people. You know what I mean? And it depends on like I said, you gotta reach out though. So when we try 3 people, I'm gonna talk about it on my Twitter. I'm gonna talk about it on my social media, on my Discord. So make sure you follow me on Twitter. Make sure at Onitaset. You see the description below. Make sure you follow me on Discord. Like, make sure you join the Discord channel. And I'm gonna offer 3 to the Twitter, 3 to the Discord, because I'm not really talking about it on YouTube, but I just talked about it before. It's gonna be Black History Month thing, so y'all heard about it first. All right. So, however, in many African societies of the world today, but you have to have Cash App. You have to have Cash App, so I can just send you the discount on Cash App. Okay. So the sentiment of black male leadership is at the context of So this sentiment of black male leadership is in the context of women and children being protected and unexposed to foreigners, strangers, and other dangers, right? So again, like you talk about, the black man should be the leader, but you're saying that in the context that women and children are protected and unexposed to foreigners, strangers, and other dangers. However, right, in many African societies of the world today, women and children are very unprotected and exposed, which nullifies the pretext of black male leadership. So you can't really talk about black male leadership while the women and children are unprotected and exposed, right? So it behooves men to organize their social groups to fix this. Then the leadership mantle would be more rightly earned. Black women needing to work for whites and black children needing to school under whites are disqualifiers for black male leadership, right? If your kid is going to school with white folk, if your woman is going to work for white people, you are disqualified from black male leadership. And that's what we have to tell people. Because say, wait a second, who's watching your kid right now? You know what I mean? Or who does your wife work for? Because if she's working for you, or she working at home, or she working with sisters, that's different. If your kid is schooling under you, schooling under his mother, or schooling under some sisters, that's different. But if your child is going to school with this white boy, right? If your child if your lady is working for these white folk, like, don't even call yourself a black male leader. You know what I mean? Don't even call yourself a black leader, because you done messed up already. You know what I'm saying? You done messed up already. Like, if you working for this white boy, that's all right, technically. I mean, it's not optimal. It's not really what you should be doing, but that's all right. But if your woman is, you done messed up already, and you already gonna have a whole bunch of problems. I'll tell you that right now. But anyway, that's as far as I got. I was gonna go into an ancient African symbolisms, a table of elements, and we're gonna go into the elements. I was thinking I could have wrote it live, but I didn't realize this was gonna take so long to read. So I won't do that. But yeah, that's how the book goes. This is the essay. That's how it is. Like I said, next month is Black History Month. I'll write that down. Tomorrow in the U.S. Black History Month in the U.S. Follow me on Twitter or Discord. Discount on the Book of Power. You know, so I'm telling you guys that's not first. You know, you just tell me the discount you want. You know, must have Cash App. You know, tell me the discount you want, and then we're good to go. But thank you so much for listening, everybody. It's been a pleasure I like this essay. Let me know what you think about the essay. What y'all liked it? Did you not like it? You think it's something that I should keep working on? You think I should put it on the drawing board, put it on the back burner? Let me know what it is that you would like. What else you want to see, if nothing else. But otherwise, I appreciate the fact that y'all listened and tuned in, and hopefully you share this video, you subscribe, you so on and so forth. But otherwise, thank you so much for even entertaining me. So, Shemiem Hotep, Anku Jah Seneb Neb. Oh, let me do my hands. Shemiem Hotep, Anku Jah Seneb Neb. Amen Ma'at Duat Nature. All right.